Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday. We are getting started this week on John Keats. We are getting almost to the end of the Romantic period, and I wanted to go over what we need to do this week. We have quite a few things to do, so let's take a look at the folder. I've given you a picture of Keats. He, for an 1800s kind of guy, looks put together. So I've given you a photo of him this week. We have a documentary for you to watch. You can kind of put that on maybe in the background while you're doing other stuff and listen to some interesting things about him. You do have a reading comprehension quiz this week on letters, which, let me go back to the folder for just a second so we can go over what's due this week. Sorry about that. Let's start here. Okay, so there were technical problems with the video discussion last week. Hopefully everybody was able to get their replies in by last night to Zoe. So I am going to push Rosie's deadline till tomorrow night for her to post her video. She might get it up early. If she does, awesome, but she's got until tomorrow night to do that. By tomorrow night, you want to have read the biography of John Keats in your textbook. Watch the documentary. Like I said, you can sort of put it on in the background and, do something else, cook dinner, whatever, while that one goes, because I do want you to listen to some information about Keats. And then we're going to read Ode to a Nightingale and Ode on a Grecian Urn. These are really famous. You may have heard of them before. And then you will be reading 3 of the letters of John Keats. And that will be covered on the reading comprehension quiz, so make sure that you are reading those. Also this week, your first micro theme is due. So I sent each of you a message when I graded your micro theme. I had a couple of folks submit the assignment sheet and not actually their thesis statement. So you'll need to email me if you want to correct that. And then some folks submitted just the prompt, saying I'm choosing this prompt, but what I needed from you was an actual thesis statement. But I've put that in each of your notes if that was the case for you. So your first micro theme is going to be due Friday at 11:59, and we'll go in the folder in a second and take a look at where to submit that. And then, of course, your video responses to the discussion leader will be also due on Friday so that you can have a weekend off from doing a bunch of homework. So let's click back into the folder. So again, Keats, 1800s fine-looking fellow. Our documentary is here. Your quiz is here. This is the assignment sheet for micro theme, number 1. You've seen it before because you had to respond to it, but I've put it back in here for your reference. This is where you're going to submit your micro theme essay. So I've put a note in here before you submit. Make sure you've read and reviewed all the items in the resources folder. It'll have the specific guidelines for the essay, some samples, strategies for successful assignments. Remember to respond to only one of the prompts. People have made the mistake before in trying to shove everything in. You only need one of the prompts. That's it. It has to be submitted as a Word or PDF. You cannot link to it, so no Google Docs, none of that. And then you will be required to submit it to Safe Assign. So if we click in here, this will be like anything else that you've submitted before. You'll upload your file here. And you can view the rubric right here. So make sure that you take a look at this. You don't have to submit in order to view the rubric. So you can click on it and then you'll see what gets an A, B, C, D, and of course it goes all the way down here. So make sure that you are reviewing that before you submit. Our flip is here for video discussions this week. And then also, I wanted to remind everybody what's upcoming. When we start the Victorian period, or the Victorian era, that will start in week 7. So week 7 through 10 are going to be mostly the Victorian era. Alex will cover Charles Dickens, and you'll see in the folders, this one's, I'm not going to lie to you guys, the Victorian era is it's kind of sad. There were it was a time of troubles. Lots of folks had troubles. And now he will cover Charles Darwin and evolution. There was a lot of thinking. People were a little depressed. There was a lot going on, a lot of poverty. People had a lot of time to think. In week 9, we will talk about, Rosie will cover the woman question. So there, where do women belong in society at this period and time? And how is that reflected in folks' writing, and, their thoughts about women and sort of their place in, business, their place in literature, the question of gender and where do women belong? So that'll be a very interesting week. And then we still need a leader for week 10. That's Robert Louis Stevenson's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You're probably familiar with that story. You may have, heard of someone's acting Jekyll and Hyde. They're one way and then they have a Mr. Hyde side to them or whatever. So that's where all this comes from. So if you've never read Jekyll and Hyde, the original, in week 10, that's what we'll be doing. So, I do need someone to go into Sign Up Genius and, sign up for week 10. And then after that, I will be posting, a sign up, link for our 20th and 21st century readings. So, we're moving pretty quickly. We've only got a few weeks until spring break. But this week is going to be kind of full. So make sure, that you are jumping forward on everything that you need to do. Everything is open. I will have week 6, open probably by the latter part of the week. So that, I believe it's a Nahi for next week. I'm not sure. But so week 6, the discussion leader can jump on that and have that ready to go for Monday. So as always, if you have questions, comments, suggestions, concerns, anything, let me know. I will be going through as much as I can this week. It's busy on the JCC administrative side. As you all know, I'm a department chair. So, this is, I split that with teaching. So, I will do my best to start getting the video discussions graded. You guys are doing a great job. I will tell you this week, I'd love to see a little bit more animation from you guys, like even those who, I know not everybody likes to appear on camera, and that's totally fine. And I know some of you are writing up your responses and then sort of reading them. But if you're not going to appear on camera, it would be also cool to explore some of the features of Flip and, add some animation, add even a little bit of text or maybe a picture or something. Because when we're listening to your responses, sometimes we're just listening to a voice and there's nothing to look at to go along with it. So anyway, so this is week 5 in a nutshell. Let me know if you have questions. Looking forward to seeing what everyone does. Have a great week.